I've had a couple of requests lately to revisit a program or a video I did some time ago called Advanced System Care. Do I still use it? Of course I do. I love the program. It has a lot of features in there that I just, I can't do without. And it just keeps my machine in top condition. Uh, I use it pretty much every day. I like to get rid of cookies and all sorts of stuff, but I'll show you the program. I'll open it up now and I'll show you the program. Um, I'm recording this in 4K, so if you've got, you're registered with Google and you're paying your monthly not to get ads, and I don't know if you're going to get ads on this one or not. But yeah, if you're not getting ads, that's great. It doesn't help me, but it's great. So where were we? Okay, Advanced System Care. Here we go. I'm not going to do any editing of this. It's just going to be as it is raw. Now, the last video I was using Advanced System Care Pro. I've updated to the next one, which is Advanced System Care Ultimate. In this video, and there's no sponsorship. I get nothing from IOBit, who makes the program. I don't get any. No one's sponsoring me in this video. I'm doing it just off my own bat, just to help you guys out. If you want something that will help you fix your computer, keep your computer in top notch, and I can tell you the advantages to this program, and there are disadvantages as well of having this program, which I will go over in this video. You might, I'll give you one disadvantage. You might have, say, in your Steam library, you've got all your games in there, and then suddenly, for some unknown reason, one of your games has just disappeared. It's gone. It's not in the recycling bin. It's just gone. And you're wondering, did I uninstall that? I haven't played it for a few months, but did I uninstall it? I can't remember uninstalling that because I like my games, right? Well, that's one disadvantage. If you do something wrong in this program, that can happen. It's happened to me 4 times. I know how to circumvent it now, and it is coming from this program. Other programs may do it as well, but this program does it. If you're not careful, you can completely destroy your computer. Just be aware of that. I'm not going to be held responsible for anything you do. If you download this, the freeware version is a little bit different to this version, but if you get the freeware version has certain things turned off so you can't use it. And it doesn't come with your antivirus. I think the freeware version is only the pro version, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked on the website for a few months now. So just be aware of that. I'm not going to be held any responsibility if you use this program, use it incorrectly, and then wipe your hard drive. That's not my fault, right? I'm just telling you in here what it can do if you use it right, and what it can do if you use it wrong. So in the Ultimate version compared with the Pro version, there's only really two differences. Two differences that I can see. One is the Ultimate version has an antivirus program built into it, and how good it is, I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I'm not going to download 100 viruses to see if this thing is any better than what comes with Windows 11 default. But having a second one, including Windows 11 default, why not? It's there. It comes part of the program. So you can do your quick scan, you can do your full scan, which will take, in my case, many hours because I've got 5 hard drives in my computer. 3 are SSD, sure, but the other 2 are not. Yeah, so a full scan for me would take hours. A quick scan is only about 10 minutes because it only scans the necessary files. So anything that a virus attached to, so it might attach to DLLs, it might attach to exe files, anything that's in the Windows directory, it can replace that file with. But Windows 11 is good like that. It doesn't really allow that to happen anyway because of your security. If you've got your security turned on, if you don't, well, then you're susceptible to that as well. But if you've got the security turned on, Windows won't allow programs to change programs. But people bring viruses out all the time and all sorts of worms and whatever they call them these days to circumvent antivirus programs. So there's no antivirus program that's infallible. But they do get updated from time to time. The antivirus programs, that is, and they catch them eventually. So I'm sure IOBIT is about the same. I'm not going to say it's better than anyone or not better than anyone. And then you've got your custom scan, not scam, scan. Uh, so you can see there my 5 hard drives. C drive is an SSD, M.2 SSD. D drive is a half SSD, half normal hard drive. G drive is just a normal drive. That's I think it's a 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, just my games drive. So I've got all my games backed up from Steam, which is on C drive. I've got all my games backed up on the games drive, which is F drive in this case. Then I've got a small SSD in there, which is about 500 gig, and I use that primarily. I've got that as my download path. So anything I download goes to that SSD. Then I scan it. Being an SSD, being a small drive, I mean, 500 gigabytes. That's plenty. You don't want to download anything to your C drive. I mean, you might only have one hard drive in your computer, but you really don't want to download it to C drive if you can help it. If you've got a flash drive or an external hard drive, plug that in, download it to there. That way you're going to keep your computer safe. And then I've got a Seagate there, which is a 4 terabyte external. I think it's half and half SSD and half, I don't know what they're called, hybrid SSDs, I suppose, half normal hard drive and half SSD. So some of it takes up first and then the hard drive takes over. So you half and half SSD here, half and half SSD here, full SSD here, games drive, just a normal hard drive, and Windows C is the M.2. Okay, so I don't want to scan any of those. And then you can, if you want to, you can just open one up and then just go through it and then go from there, or Seagate, you go through that, open it up, and you can scan an individual folder. So if I'm downloading something to the Intel SSD, I'll scan that folder that comes down, or the zip file, or the RAR file, or whatever compression format it's in. I'll scan that. If it doesn't find anything, then I'll extract it. 9 times out of 10, if there's a virus there, it'll delete it automatically because I've got this thing. I don't even care if I'm downloading a program and it says there's any suspicion, even if it isn't suspicious, any suspicion to a file, I'll delete it before I even open it, even if I want the program. So we go into the advanced system care side. Now this really hasn't changed much. I will run it. I'll probably speed up the video so you don't have to see or wait for me to run it. I haven't run it today, or I might have run it this morning. It's like nearly 10 o'clock at night here. I might have run it this morning when I had the computer on. But I'll let it go through its cycle, and you'll see what it does. Depending on how fast it is, I might speed it up, I might not. Let's see. Hey, so we'll just run it. I'll shut up for now, and I'll run it, and we'll go from there. Okay, well, that finished reasonably fast. I mean, I could have let it run while you guys were watching it, but decided to speed it up anyway. It took about 4 minutes, 5 minutes to do it. So you can see it's fixed the privacy traces. There's things like tracking cookies. Google will send you tracking cookies. Firefox will do it. Google, all the very Apple, whoever you visit, they will send you a cookie. Some of them have got tracking software in it, some of them don't. Most of the time they have to tell you now, do you want this website to allow blah, blah, blah. But some websites don't do that either. So it will go through that. You can see in my case, I had about, what, 40, 50, something like that. I didn't really look at the number. I don't look at those numbers anymore. Yeah, so when you run this for the very first time, you might get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of traces because you haven't cleaned them. Now, you've got to save space when you clean them because most of them are just cookies. They're only a very small 1-2 kilobyte file. But if you've got 200,000 of them, then it's half a megabyte of files. Junk files is just anything you've got in the recycling bin. It'll get rid of that. Only up to a certain point. If you set it, and you can set this up to do what you want it to do. Invalid shortcuts, obviously, if you've deleted a program and you've still got a shortcut on the desktop to that program, or that program has got a very bad uninstaller and it leaves leftovers behind, this will find it. So invalid shortcuts. Registry entries, self-explanatory, anything in the registry it'll fix. Outdated software, so anything you've got on your hard drive, you might have a text editor which replaces the Notepad one that's in Windows. I use C++. So if you've got things like outdated C++, if it finds that, it'll update it automatically. Well, if you've got the payware version, the freeware version, it will tell you it's outdated, and it'll give you the option to update it, but you can only update one thing at a time. That's I think the primary difference between the payware version and the freeware version. But the freeware version, you can still use it. It's just that if you haven't updated anything for 12 months, you're going to have a lot of software that's out of date. Now, outdated software, no issues found, right? Spyware threats that go through your programs and finds anything that looks a bit so-so. Internet improvements, like download prefetch contents will soon, you will visit soon and display them quickly while accessing. Perform domain name resolution for web pages contents to improve page load times. So current value is false, recommended is true, and it's changed it to true for you. That's within Firefox. System optimizations, so it's just things that can improve. Recommended. Manual is, I had it on manual, and because some of them, I want to keep. And recommended, they say disable. Registry fragments, there was nothing in there to worry about. System weaknesses, what's this? Against browser hijacking. This feature helps Firefox defend, that's the browser I use, Firefox defend against browser hijacking, and it's enabled, right? Security holes, that's Windows updates, Windows patches, things like that. It'll find anything it needs. And disk optimization is basically defragmenting your hard drive. That's if you've got a normal platter hard drive in your computer, the old types that we had back in the day. Most of mine are half SSD, half hard drive, so they will defragment pretty quickly. The SSDs don't need fragmentation these days. So that's it, you do that. Now, you've got this here called Speed Up, and this gives you lots of features. So you can see I've got gaming mode on, and with gaming mode on, 45 programs in the background are turned on. If I want to switch to work mode, I don't click on anything, I just bring my mouse to there, and that's work mode. So I'll go work mode now. Right, Turbo Boost is off. Those 45 stopped programs will still be stopped. They won't restart them again. When you restart your computer, they'll then activate. So things in the background like Microsoft Office and OneDrive, and I don't use OneDrive anymore. So yeah, it's those sort of things. It'll turn those on. Gaming mode is what I normally sit in. Switch to game mode because I'm always in game mode. Now, I don't know if this is going to affect the video. Hopefully not. Okay. It says your PC is not performing. You've got 2 startup items. Here's the 2 startup items. I just hit optimize. So I've got my printer. I've got my FlexNet licensing servicing thing and my fan control. Huh? Okay. So I just click that and hit optimize. Done. So it's now optimized. You can go from here, you can go into your startup items, send to OneNote, delete. Uh, my brother printer, I want that to be enabled. Advanced system care obviously is enabled, and everything else, look, everything else I've got turned off. So I turn all of that off. That's your services, so don't play around in here. You can really suck things up. Scheduled tasks, these are things that automatically run when the computer starts up. You can see I've got fan control there. That controls all the fans in the computer. A little icon here, so if I double click on that, this program will open up and it'll show you the fans that are in my computer and what they're doing, the RPM and so on. I can monitor that when I'm doing that. So that's fan control. I'll just close that. Browser startups, anything that's in your browser that you've got starting up. Go back. So that's those two, and you can see I've got another startup item here. Optimization. Optimized, and that's because I turned that one back on. So I'll optimize that very quickly, and I'll go back. So you can see I'm now running smoothly. You want to see that running smoothly all the time. If you've never used this program, then your machine's probably bogged down to, it's probably 30 to 40 seconds slower when it boots. Hardware accelerator. Let's go into here. Now, this is Driver Booster. It does come with Driver Booster, but it comes with the freeware version. If it finds drivers, now be aware that if you're recording anything and you do this while you're recording and you're upgrading while you're recording, now I'll scan, but I'm not going to upgrade because if some of them are motherboard resources, they may crash the computer. Hooray, all your drivers are up to date. Now, this 62 invalid devices data can be cleaned up. These are things that you're not using. So anything that the program sees that you're not using, it'll just take them out of your memory. Basically, it's in memory and it's using memory. So uh, examples. Okay, say you had say on the weekend. It's a weekend here in Australia at the moment, but say on the weekend that you plugged in a joystick, and the Windows 11 is quite smart. It'll install all the drivers for that joystick, and then you play your game, and then the weekend ends, and you have to go back to work, and maybe you work at home, maybe you work in an office, I don't know, and then you unplug the joystick and put it in the cupboard until the following weekend. Well, all the drivers are installed and being used on startup for that joystick. So one of them might be in here. So this gets rid of all that information that joystick used to operate that joystick inside Windows. And it's in there and it's loading on startup. So that slows down your startup. So I just hit clean. And it goes through there. I might have had a Bluetooth speaker, so it goes through it. Now, you be careful in here because some of these things have to be running, like CD-ROM. Okay, I've got a Blu-ray drive. People are going, oh, why you got a CD? They're pretty old now. Who uses CD? I still use CD because it's nice to have 100 gigabyte. You might think that's small. I've got a 100 gigabyte drive there that's got my Windows 11 complete install on it. So if I have a crash, I can just copy that to my hard drive, have a selective startup, go into my C drive, run one program, and my Windows is back. That's why I have external, and plus CD drives. Chuck it in the cupboard wherever. You've got backups to things. People don't back up anymore. They go, oh, well, my backup to a hard drive. What happens if your backup hard drive fails? Then you've lost terabytes of information. In my case, I still use CDs because I'm old-fashioned like that. But it's an external. It's not. I've got a Corsair D4000 case. It doesn't have a CD drive slot, so I've got a. I've got this thing plugged into the back of the computer on a long cable that sits on my table here, and if I need it, it's on the table. So yeah, it's all of these things that media, so forth. You've got remote desktop hub. I use a hub when I've got my steering wheel. When I'm doing my, I like F1 2023. So But a steering wheel, you don't want a steering wheel in front of you all the time. I don't have a proper racing rig, but I've got a 27-inch monitor, 4K monitor. So I set up my steering wheel for when I want to do the races. But that's few and far between. But it's still there and it's still detected. Um, Here we go. Samsung mobile USB. That's well, obviously it's a mobile USB. So it's not plugged in at the moment, but all the drivers are there for it. So you can clean this. Um, the WD, I don't know what WD, oh, that's black. They're all USB, USB, USB. Here's a printer. I'll untick that one. So if you want to get rid of them, you can just hit clean. Okay. Android TV. Well, it's not turned on, but it's out there still, and I use it for my TV. So I'm not going to bother with cleaning these devices because most of these devices I use every day, and I want to keep those devices installed. Now you can scan your installed programs here for any updates. These are any programs you've got installed that there is an update for, WinRAR, and you can see here 5 software updates were found. But because I don't have this program, you can install it, but it'll be a manual update. Now don't hit install. You'll have a freeware version which really doesn't do much. You go manual update here, and it tells you what you've got. So Crystal Disk Impode, Crystal Disk Mark, Discord, all of these programs are out of date. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of date. So if you want to do a manual update, you do manual update. It does the downstall. It does the download, and you do all the install manually. But at least you'll know what is needed. Driver Booster 11. I don't update it because I've got the full version of that. And I don't want it to go back to freeware version. If you upgrade it, it'll go back to freeware. Sure, it'll be latest, but yeah, I don't. Intel computer improvement program. So there's okay. I know Discord has to be. These two I don't bother. Get my words out. These two I don't bother about because I only use them if I'm putting in a new hard drive. I use it, And how often do you do that? Um, Discord there, or I might want to check my hard drives because something feels wrong or something's not working right. I'll run it and go, is there a problem with the hard drive? Do I need to replace my hard drive? So I might run it then, but last time I run it was maybe a month ago. Discord, well, as soon as I open Discord, it'll update itself, so I'm not going to bother with that. Driver Booster, well, I don't need to update that because I've got the Pro version installed. About 5 or 6 versions old, but it still works. And the Intel improvement program will probably update when Windows does its update. So I'm not going to bother with any of that. But if you find anything in there that you want to update, then sure, go ahead and update it. So that's all done. So we're back to here. So you can see these are all your drivers. So you can see all my drivers are up to date. And you'll find a lot of drivers on your hard drive that are out of date. Now here's Boost. So this is the same as this one up here. So you don't have to really go through that unless you really want to. System Optimizer is basically the same as what you've got over here. So this thing is a sort of a duplicate. There's my Driver Booster. So I can turn that on and then I can have Optimize and it goes through this, you see. So I'm going to stop it and get back to that. Sorry, wrong one. Get back to that window. So you can see what that does. So Driver Booster has a boosting and an updater, and it does System Optimizer as well in Driver Booster alone. So go back to speed up here. So we've done these two. We've hardware acceleration, that's Driver Booster. We've just been in there. App Extension Cleaner. I haven't got that installed, so I don't, because I know what programs I've got installed, and I know they're pretty much up to date because this program does that. So I don't need to have an app extension cleaner. These are apps that you haven't used for maybe you got an app in there that you downloaded 3 years ago and you haven't used it in 3 years. You might have used it when you downloaded it for the first week and you haven't used it since. Well, this will see that and say, do you want to get rid of it? So, and some of these apps could be your games that are in your Steam library. So be aware that that is what uninstalls your app, because it might see, in the case of, say, Grand Theft Auto, many a time I've had Grand Theft Auto just disappear on me. It's gone. And this program has said, oh, and I haven't read. A lot of people don't read these days, right? So this programmer says, "Oh, you haven't used Grand Theft Auto for a long time. Do you want to get rid of the program?" Well, without knowing it, and then I might go through and completely miss that line where it says Grand Theft Auto, and I'll go through the line and go, "Oh, I don't want that, don't want that, don't want that," and don't realise Grand Theft Auto or another game has been ticked, and then I hit run, and it gets rid of the program. And I mean, it gets rid of it. There's no bringing it back. There is no way bringing it back. That's why you've got to have updates. And now this is real-time tutor. Um, I will show you what that does. I don't know if I've got it open, but I'll show you what that actually does. Can I do it this way? I don't know about that. Um, yeah, so I can turn that off. Yeah, see, it's not straight away. And then you can turn that back on again and it fixes it up straight away. So any changes you make, you're going to make. And then you got auto RAM clean. I don't use that program. For the other program, where is it here? This one's still running. All drivers are up to date. So I'm going to exit that program. So we won't worry about that. That's real-time monitoring. A box will open. I've got it turned on, but because it's behind my OBS screen and it's behind this screen, you know, basically it tells you it's got metrics in there. It tells you what's running in the memory. It tells you a few things that are on the desktop that's running continuously. I don't know if I can. No, I can't. I can't. Not with these screens. I've got two screens, but they're both being utilised. One's the recording studio, and the other one is this screen. Auto RAM clean, you can set that up so say every 10 minutes it cleans your RAMs, because some programs out there, especially Microsoft, a lot of Microsoft games, they are very memory wasteful is the word. You might run the game and then over time it adds more and more and more and more and more RAM or memory. It uses more memory to run the program, but it doesn't get rid of the memory that's not being used anymore. So the memory gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the usage, and the game gets slower and slower and slower over time. And then the CPU or the GPU is using more and more memory. So you'll get to a situation, and I'm sure we've all had it, where you'll have a pop-up, maybe a blue screen, but you'll get a pop-up and it'll say, sorry, you've run out of video memory. If you've ever had that problem, turn this auto RAM clean on and set it so every 15 minutes it cleans the memory. And it'll clean all the memory. It'll clean the memory that's on the motherboard, so your main memory. It'll clean the memory that's inside your video cards, one or two, regardless how many you've got. It'll clean anything. It'll clean all the cache. It'll clean all your anything that uses memory. It'll clean, if it has to, it'll clean part of your swap file. It'll clean anything that is not currently being used. Obviously, if you're in a game and you clean the memory, you might get a slight hesitation when that happens. I don't mind. I prefer to have a slight hesitation than the game crashing in 2 hours' time. So that's what that does. And Performance Monitor just basically tells you in real time on your desktop, when you don't have this program open, it just tells you your temperatures. It tells you the temperature of the GPU, temperature of the CPU, the temperature of the motherboard. So it's got the motherboard sensor there as well. So your motherboard temperature, your CPU temperature, your GPU temperature, and the fan speed for your CPU. Because I don't know how many times I've killed CPUs from my fan dying. Anyway, we'll go to the final box here. Hopefully this video won't last any longer. So you've got more tools in here. Right. I don't use this much. Smart RAM, well, you can see I don't use it. Internet booster, that's another internet booster. So most computers these days are set up so you can only download 4 things at a time, and then it won't download a 5th thing until one of those first 4 have stopped. That can get rid of that limitation for you. Program deactivator, I had that already. Registry cleaner, well, if you're going to be using just the normal run function inside here, you don't need that. System information, if you want to, open that up, and it tells you about your overall system information, and you can see my system information there. Everyone knows my name, Lawrence Nichols, so I'm not worried about people seeing that. You can see I'm running in 4K. Display count 2. Yes, I've got 2 displays. 4060 is there. Memory installed, hard disk space, and so on. I've got what nearly 10 gigabytes, 10 terabytes of hard drive space. Windows 11 Pro, of course, AMD Ryzen 7. Yeah, so that's it. You can go through the operating system. I won't click on that because you'll see my serial number. There's your main board and the information on your main board and your memory and your caches and so forth, your memory displacement here and who makes the memory, your disk drives, all your disk drives in here, your display, unknown, a memory type of display. Here we go, NVIDIA 4060, okay, 8 gigabyte, yada yada, display, blah blah blah, colors, refresh rate 59 hertz. About my network and other devices that I have, like mouse, keyboard, USB, etc. So that's handy to know if you don't have a way of finding that out. If someone says, "Oh, what have you got?" you can open this up quickly and tell them. So that's system information. Auto shutdown is good. Like you might want to, be on the computer, check your emails, check this, check that, but you don't want to be sidetracked, and you set it so. In my case, it's usually 11 o'clock when I go to bed. So, yes, you might set it so at 10 to 11, the computer shuts down. Just got to make sure that it will come up with a 1 minute counter and say your computer's going to shut down in 1 minute. And it'll also give you a cancel option if you want to cancel it. But if you're not near the computer and it shuts down, well, bad luck. WinFix, if you've got anything that is not running within Windows, you've got WinFix. I've never had a problem since I've had this installed. Face ID, well, if you've got this program on a mobile phone, Face ID is good. This program or Windows or whatever, you won't have Windows on your phone, but you know what I mean. You can use Face ID. If you're using applications on your phone, you can use Face ID and so forth. Phones have got that anyway, so you don't really need that. Context menu, really you don't need to go into here. This just tells you about, all the programs that you are in the, context menu. This is like the things on your right click and so forth. So if you go right click, I can't right click here, but can I right click here? So see, this thing that's context menu. Disk Doctor. Well, if you've got a hard drive that you're a bit sus, or your friend comes over and says, "Oh, can you check this hard drive?" and you've got a docking station on the outside that you can plug it into, you plug it into there and you open up Disk Doctor and you can check a hard drive for your friend or yourself or whoever. System control. This controls the system. I don't have it installed, so don't show this. Use this tool to download it first. Okay, so I'll download it. It doesn't take long. So it's just basically like it's you display your function, your security, others, Cortana settings, and download options. So H in this case is my download, which is the Intel SSD as I mentioned before. DNS protector. Well, you could run Google. Let's turn Google on, and then you just hit OK, and that's it. See, DNS changed to Google. Um, So how easy is that? I mean, if you've ever wanted to change your DNS, there's OpenDNS. Okay, done. That's done. Next time your computer reboots, it'll be using OpenDNS. Um, I really don't need it, so I'll go back to Google. Google seems to be pretty safe, so I'll leave it on Google. Registry Cleaner, basically the same as what Advanced System Care does anyway, so you don't need to worry about that. Disk Cleaner. Now, this is one you've got to worry about. If you download Disk Cleaner and you decide to clean your disk, uh, it'll come up with a box that says this is what we can clean. If anything's in there that's ticked, that's one of your games, it'll get rid of it. Will you get it back? No, you won't get it back. No way of getting it back. So make sure you back up your Steam folder if you can. File shredder. Now, you might have some sensitive, say you work in a government agency and you've got some sensitive data on your computer and you want to delete it, but you want to delete it in such a way that no one can get it back. So one day you might throw your hard drive out because it's getting too small and you put a bigger hard drive in there and you chuck your hard drive in the bin. You should really recycle it, but you throw it in the bin. Someone else who gets that hard drive has now got all your data. Even if it's deleted, even if you formatted the hard drive, that data can be retrieved. File shredder can shred your files And what it basically does is you've got a file that's got certain letters in it, and it'll put X's over every letter. And and that's the first time round. And then the second time round, it'll put zeros on every letter. And then the third time around, it'll put X's on their code. So that's called DoD. That's DoD is basically Department of Defense Destruction, and it's very good. It's very good. I've tried retrieving things. I can see the file, but I can't retrieve it because the software, and I've got some good recovery software here. The software says we can see the file, but we can't recover it because it's too damaged. And you can overwrite it 20 or 30 times, and if you only really need to do it twice makes it pretty impossible to get anything back. But I'm sure there are government agencies that can even fix that. So you probably want to do it 3 or 4 times for very sensitive files. So that's the file shredder. Empty folder scanner. There's a lot of folders inside Windows that are empty. They appear to be empty, but if you don't have your administration rights on your computer, so you've bought a all-in-one computer from a store, they might set it up so you've got certain things that you can do, but certain things you can't do, like certain things in program files you can't delete. I can because I've got administration rights. And even if you've got administration rights, you haven't got full administration rights unless you're logged in as the administrator. And that's a different account to your user. So there's a user account, a shared account for anyone who connects to your computer, and an administrator account. And when you're in the administrator account, you can do anything. You can delete anything, you can go anywhere, you can do whatever you like. And in the administration account, a lot of those empty folders will have files in them that not everyone can see. So watch out for that one. If it's not on C drive, and you're going to do this on another hard drive, and you want to get rid of all the empty folders, because I've done it when I built my computer for the very first time. I found many a time, why is that folder empty? It's on my games drive. Why have I got 10 folders in there? Because sometimes I drag things across. I don't even realize I've done it. I get a bit of lag in the computer or whatever, or I've got a game running and then I, tab out of it, go to the other hard drive, and I make a folder, and then I forget to put something in it, or I forget to name it, and it's just an empty folder. So we've all done it. Shortcut fixer, well, if you run Advanced System Care, it'll get rid of that for you. But if you don't want to run Advanced System Care, you can just do it here. Duplicate file finder. Now, that's a biggie for me. I mentioned this in the last video. If you're a type of person that likes to have duplicates of files everywhere, so you might have one file that's got the same name, but it does 20 different things. I've got files here. They might be an exe file that I've made into an exe file, but they're actually a batch file in the back end. So you run your exe file, it runs a batch file from within the program, and that batch file does certain things. I've got many batch files here doing all sorts of things for my flight sim stuff. Some are changing textures from BMP to DDS. Some are changing DDS to Microsoft Flight Simulator format. Some are doing this, some are doing that. But the name of the file might be the same across all the different things. I should really rename them, but I don't. And so I might have the one file called the one file name across all these different things that it does. So duplicate file finder, if you're a type of person that's like me, you're in Flight Sim 10, say, you're doing some experiments, you're installing new scenery, you're checking it out, you might have a 737, say. 737, every country in the world has a 737. The 737, the model will be the same, but the textures might be Argentina, they might be Qantas, they might be Virgin, they might be Jetstar, but the file name is the same in every folder. So yeah, if you use that program, be aware that you may destroy your flight sim, or any other program that uses multiple directories with multiple files that are all the same name. Large file finder, well, that's self-explanatory. It looks for large programs, large files on your computer, and it tells you what they are, and if you want to get rid of them, you can. If you don't, you don't. Process manager is anything that's running in memory. So it shows you all the processes. So these are all the processes that are running in memory on my computer. So there's your services there, and performance. So it tells you performance here. Same as Task Manager, basically. Most people know, right click on the taskbar, go to Task Manager, and it does the same as what this does. So there's all your files. Uh, Obviously, Task Manager is really, really slow and dodgy, and this one here is, well, lightning fast, Look how fast that is, And services, you can see how fast it is here. It's quite fast. And you can add tasks in here, and you might want something that after your computer starts, 10 minutes after your computer starts, I want to run this program. So in my case, I might want to run fan control. So fan control here, um, that controls all my fans when it's under load and so forth. It turns all my fans up. So the two fans in the front, the one in the back, the one on the processor, the one on the motherboard, and the GPUs, they will all turn on when I'm in a game because I've got fan control set up that way. And I've got that so it loads automatically when the program starts. So when Windows starts. So when Windows starts, after about 10 minutes, my antivirus doesn't automatically scan it. It updates first, and then it automatically scans 1 o'clock every day. You can set it up so it turns the computer on automatically, does the scan, and then shuts the computer down automatically. You can have it do that. So that's pretty much this window. Hope I haven't dragged it out too long. All of these programs are programs you can download and buy. Driver Booster, obviously, I've got that installed. Malware Fighter, well, this Ultimate version comes with malware. I'll show you that in a moment. Defragmenter, which I don't use because I've only got one hard drive that I worry about, and this program does it anyway. So I don't use it. And there's a VPN if you want a VPN. Never used it, so I can't say how good it is. And you've got protected folder. That's just a folder that can't be seen. If you decide you want to let a scammer into your computer and you don't want them to go certain places, I mean, you could use a virtual drive, but yeah. So I'll go back into the antivirus here, and we can go into protection details. So a little box will open up, and it'll show you. So you've got real-time protection that it's always on. Anti-ransomware there, auto silent mode, so it does everything in silent mode. Windows firewall, email protection, ad removal, surfing protection, homepage advisor. If you decide you want to go there, and you can see every one of these has got settings. So email protection, and then it'll show you, Microsoft Edge I don't have turned on, Firefox I don't need that turned on. Browsers that you want to enable protection, Edge I'll turn that on as well. So these are the emails. If you use emails through Google or through whoever using these ones, if you've got Chrome, and you can see there's nothing there, so I really don't use that one. Anti-ransomware, you can go into the settings here, and you can see documents, office files, pictures, they're all protected on my computer. Auto silent mode. So, and then you've got a whole list here. So silent mode, quarantine, whatever's quarantine, your spyware removal, skip files larger than 10 megabytes, because most spyware programs aren't bigger than that. They're very, very small. They don't want to be seen. Remove threats to the recycling bin, or if you've got that unchecked, which is default, it'll just remove the threat. You won't get that option. Your firewall, if you want to go into firewall and change your firewall settings, these are all your firewall settings. Email protection, obviously I was just into that one. Ads removal, so Microsoft Edge, remove the ads on that. Firefox, enable it in the browser extensions, which I haven't enabled. Surfing protection. Notice Edge is always turned off. Must be something to do with I don't know. Homepage advisor. So it just advises you on the homepage. Access protection. So browsing data, contacts, local email data, and OneDrive. So all of these are protected. So no one can actually go in there and delete anything. So if you go into my contacts, if someone hacks me, say, and someone goes into my contacts, they can't delete my contacts. They can't override my email. automatically block untrusted programs from accessing your sensitive data. If you do that, then you won't be able to do anything either. So I've got that turned off. I'll turn it back on. Anti-tracking. So it'll go through. There's a whole list here. Compact databases, saved information, downloads, cookies, select browsing data you want to clear. So if you've got saved passwords in browsers, and you click any of these, you can see it gives you a history here. Browsing data cleared in the past. So it does this automatically. I wouldn't play with that. But if you're good enough around a PC, you can go into there. So you can see that's all the stuff you can do. You can go into anti-ransomware here. It's just what, I don't want to go over it twice. The video's already taking too long. I only wanted to do half an hour, but hopefully I all stuffed up too much, sorry. But yeah, that's Advanced System Care Ultimate 17, and I'll leave you with it. So I'm going to sign off. If you want to see any of my airports, go to the link on the right. If it's informative and you want to keep up to date with programs like this, and from time to time I'll look at other programs, subscribe to the channel if you want. You don't have to, but please, so other people get to see this program. It's a wonderful program. Please give me that thumbs up. Okay, we'll catch you in the next video. I'll do something in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see you then. Anyway, have a great day wherever you are in the world. I'm going to close this down, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.